I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to be discussing the 30th spirit of the Goetia, Forneus. All right. Now, before we do, I do want to apologize a little bit. It has been a long time since I've done the one on the Goetia, it seems, or it feels like it to me. And I do apologize for that. I'm going to try and get more out. And I've had many of you asking if I will do a counterpart to this dealing with angels. I am looking to start that series up soon as well. There's a lot of projects going on, very busy here. So if you're interested in occult knowledge or just curious about it, drop us a like, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're notified anytime we release a new video or do a live stream. We do live streams every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We call it Magical Coffee Hour. I drink a lot of coffee. I come over there. We talk about magical stuff. It's a lot of fun. So join us there. If you make sure notifications on, it'll notify you anytime we go live also, or it should. Beyond that, I think we're good to go. You can also find us over at workingdragonmystic.com. We do have an online school where we teach courses. Currently, you can get meditation, tarot, Dragon Magic 101, 102, and we are adding more courses. So enough with the rambling. Let's get going. What do you say? All right. Now we're going to follow our same pattern here as we have in the past, or we're going to attempt to. I've flubbed it up a time or two. And for those wondering, yes, we are covering all 72 in order. So if you haven't seen the spirit you're interested in yet, it is coming, okay? I know I got a lot of people constantly asking about that, so I wanted to clear that up. Now, Forneus is how I've always heard this particular name pronounced. I've had a few people pronounce it in a way that, I'll be honest, I can't, which I'm kind of glad that is the rarity of the pronunciation. I've always just heard it pronounced Forneus, so that's what I'm going to go with on here, all right? Now, general appearance of this particular spirit within the Goetia is listed as a sea monster. Not a lot of details, not very descriptive, even vaguer than some of the others we've seen in the past, just as a sea monster. This one on a personal level with me, that was a weird description because it's a sea monster. What does that mean? Is it a sea serpent? Is it a kraken? Is it a giant whale? Is it something, I don't know, Cthulhu? What is it? You don't know what to expect when you hear something like sea monster. And I have found it to manifest personally more in the larger sea titan leviathans manner. So what do I mean by that? Because everybody hears the term Leviathan, they think of the entity Leviathan. They don't think of the term or the descriptor term, okay? So I'm using it as the descriptor term. Let me be very clear here. So when I say that, this entity has shown up in many, many varieties of sea monster. When I've worked with it and talking with other magicians, many people do see the quote-unquote sea serpent. Others also do see this thing show up in like a kraken-esque sort of form, which I've seen that one. That's pretty cool for me. I enjoy kraken mythology and stuff, so that was fun and interesting. Some people have seen it show up as like a giant Moby Dick style whale. That one I've seen too. Others have seen it show up as a large, almost megalodon-like shark, which for me, honestly, I haven't seen the shark. I'll be honest. I got a lot of friends and colleagues who have. I have not. That I find a little surprising. I am a shark junkie. I've studied sharks since I was very, very young. And the megalodon was even one of the ones that really had my core interest. So that kind of shoots down the theory that it's going to choose the direction you would almost prefer, because I think I'd prefer that over some of the stuff I've seen. But that does at least show that it will present in different ways. Now, when I say sea serpent, do I mean big giant water dragon? Actually, I don't. Though a lot of people may view sea serpents as a form of dragon. Personally, as someone who works with dragons and spent a long time in dragon magic, I do not. Just because it's long, scaly, and serpentine does not make it a dragon. That being said, when I have seen this thing, I could see how it could be mistaken with a dragon. But more often than not, it definitely has more think anaconda-y, viperish kind of appearance to it, if that makes sense. Again, that's my take on it. But again, sea monster is the only description we're really given. And from my work with it and other colleagues, that can vary. So you could see a shark, you could see a whale, you could see a kraken, a sea serpent. The list goes on. I actually had one person say it appeared as a giant turtle, which, I mean, a big giant freaking turtle island and stuff, you know, that'd be a sea monster. That could do some damage. So I could see it. And monster it's a relative word anyway. So hope that helps a little. This one's a little fun for a lot of people just because they kind of want to see what the hey they're going to see, you know? And that's cool. That's one of the things I love about magic and the occult. It's the exploration, the adventure, the unknown. All right. Now let's get into those associations we all know so well as our format for these videos. The rank in the Goetia of Forneus is Marquise. The metal most associated with Forneus is silver. The planet most associated with Forneus is Moon. And the color most associated with Forneus is blue. And the element most associated with Forneus is, of course, water, which makes a lot of sense when we consider appears as a sea monster, right? Not a sky monster. So I mean, sorry for the cheesy joke, but it makes sense for me, okay? As well as the color and the planet. Really, the moon deals with the tides, so that makes a lot of sense for me. Oh, by the way, fancy cup here today. New cup. I'm giving it a road test before I take it out camping. All right, now before we get any further in here, what do you say we go ahead and throw the sigil up here on screen so you can see Forneus' sigil? There you go. Pretty standard sigil for the Goetia. You got the name around, you got the little rings, you got the design. Very standard of what we've come to expect within the Goetia. All right, groovy. Let's go. Let's get into this. This is the areas most common that this entity can help with, okay? Now, in the original Goetia, it was listed as teaches languages and rhetoric. That's what it said. A lot of people don't really get a whole hell of a lot from that. Other than languages, it's like that makes sense. But let's talk about this in the areas that in modern life, today, here and now, where this entity can really help. Well, when it comes to languages, I honestly do think this entity's great. If you're studying languages, you're trying to decipher languages, or you're trying to learn a second, third, fourth language, depending on your linguistic skills, this entity is a marvelous help to that. So feel free to work with Forneus if you're interested in languages, learning them or studying them. The next area that Forneus is really good at is to make enemies see the best in you. This is helpful. This is helpful. This can help you avoid a lot of awkward situations, a lot of tension, all kinds of things. Now, it uses the word enemy, and it definitely works with enemies, anyone that you could perceive as an enemy. I would say go broader with this, though, because this can help people see the best in you. So even people that you just butt heads with, they annoy you, maybe you wouldn't label them enemy, but they're just that jackass at work that you can't deal with. Also a great situation. Personally, I've used this when I've had to go to events or parties or weddings or other places where I know people I don't like, people who irritate me, people who annoy me are going to be. And I know that sounds weird because if they see the best in me, you're like, Drake, wouldn't they want to come and talk with you? Kind of. But I have noticed that when someone sees the best in you, they approach you in a far, far less annoying way. So if I have to be there and they going to be there, I figure let's do everything we can to make it pleasant for everybody, right? And that's one of the things I do. So I go broader than the term enemy, but enemy is the way most magicians this day and age kind of phrase that one. All right. Next is to cause others to view you well, despite words and actions that might otherwise offend them. I use this a lot. Anyone who's watched the live streams, anyone who's in the Gilded, or especially the members only gilded. For the paid members and the Patreon members who support the channel, they will know and they will tell you that I am a very, very filtered person here on YouTube. I pick my words professionally. And a lot of people say you pick your words professionally, you don't come off uber professional. Exactly. Exactly. In real life, I'm a very unfiltered, very raw, very blunt individual. And because of that, I do often rub people the wrong way. I am very often regarded as a butthole or an a-hole, a jerk. And then people who know me like, no, you're a big teddy bear. You're so sweet. Give me time. You'll see what they mean. And I'm okay with this because I don't mind being blunt and honest. And if honesty offends a person, I'm one of those people, I don't really care. But at the same time, kind of like in the previous example, if I have to be in a social situation and I'm going to have to be there and I'm going to have to maybe represent a client, or perhaps it's a funeral, family event, I will do everything I can be to be respectful and honorable. And, I'll be a decent person. I got manners. I actually do know how to use them. I was raised in the South. But there are people that have already rubbed the wrong way. And I've noticed that they tend to hold that against me a lot. So I will use this during those events, to help those people see the better side of me, regardless of what I've said in the past, but also to kind of polish any areas where if somebody pokes and prods the wrong way, that if I jokingly or sarcastically make a comment, it doesn't go over like a lead balloon or the Hindenburg. So, I try to use these in situations to not make scenes and to basically help the crowd or the person I'm there representing or the person who invited me. Largely because I don't care what people think of me, but I don't want me to put a bad thought process to another person. Okay, if that makes sense. All right. Let's see. Next, to obtain fame and recognition for your work and creativity. I know a lot of artists who use this. I know a lot of people in general who use this, and they seem to get really great results out of this. One caveat to this I will put in. Myself and practically every magician I know who works with the Goetia and is very public about our practice and take on clients and students, we inevitably get emails of, hey, can you get this spirit to make me famous overnight? I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a famous rapper. I want to be a famous ball player. I want to be a famous whatever. It doesn't work that way. This entity can work with you, develop your skills, develop your career as you do the work, as you go through the steps of developing your career and building that career up, and to generate that fame and that recognition for the work and the creativity you're doing. If you don't do the work, if you're not doing the creativity, you get nothing. Kind of like Willy Wonka and Charlie. You get nothing, nada. Just replay that speech if you're not willing to do the work and put forth the creativity. Now, if you're willing to do the work and put forth the creativity, amazing entity to work with. They will definitely multiply, even exponentially in a lot of cases, the amount of recognition and fame you get for the effort and work you do, in my experience. Now, the next one, of course, is help you stand out from the crowd and be seen in a powerful and honorable way. You could double up here, because if you're trying to become recognized as an artist or a sports person, I don't really do sports, I'm sorry, or perhaps you're a musician, and you're trying to be, I think they use the word discovered. This is a great way to stand out in the crowd. I've been told there's a lot of musicians or comedians and artists that have used this when they are going to places where they can display their work, whether it be a comedy club where they're doing stand-up, or whether it's a karaoke bar or a place where their band can act. It's a small place that books their local band and help them to stand out and get discovered, as it were. And from what I've heard, it has yielded really great results. So this is one that me personally have not used in that manner. I have used it in a manner as to stand out from the crowd in other situations where I need to make sure I'm seen or noticed. I actually was invited to a funeral one time because they were afraid that two sides of this family was going to go at it and fight and just get ugly. So I was asked to be there because from what they told me, both sides of the family either had a respect for me or a fear of me. I don't know. The way they described it sounded like a little bit of both. And they wanted me there just so that no one would start some crap. Okay, that seemed a little odd, but I was like, sure. I mean, they're already dealing with enough. They don't need, if my being there, whether true or false, would prevent anything. If it's at least going to give them peace of mind, I figured, sure, why not? But in the off case that they were true, I went ahead and made the spirit know that I want to be seen, I want to be saw and present. And the fact that it boosts that whole power and honorable concept, again, whether true or false, that this family actually gave a flip who I was, I figured it would benefit that situation. So I've used it there. And honestly, that day went off as well as a funeral can go. It was very pleasant, very pleasant. Everyone minded, everyone was nice, sweet. It was a wonderful day, minus the reason we were there. So did it work, or were they just worried for nothing? I couldn't tell you, but that is one place where I've used it. All right. Now, on to the of this particular spirit. A lot of you like these. This one I stumble over, so we're going to see if we can get through it. And I did not have time to rehearse this time, so we're going to have some fun, aren't we? All right, let me get a little drink here. All right, here we go. I'll make sure it's up here on the screen in type, or I'm going to try and make sure it's up here on the screen in type. New editing program. Sinan Okat Ina Forneus Ayer. Sinan Okat Ina Forneus Ayer. Sinan Okat Ina Forneus Ayer. There you go. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And that Okat, I know I say it with an A. That's the way I was always taught to say that one. Part of me wants to say it Okat. But now I've said it Okat so long, so many years, that don't sound right. So play with that as you will. My experience with this spirit is usually where we close, and I know I've touched on it a little bit here and there as we've gone through it. I'll be honest, Forneus is one of the spirits I've reached out with, I've worked with. I enjoy any time I work with them, though he and I are two individuals that honestly were more like ships in the night. We love to keep company and to talk to each other when we have reason or when it comes up. But long-term workings with him just not really came up any for me. Every time I've reached out to him, he's been very, very pleasant, very easy to approach. Some people get a little daunted by this whole sea monster. I love the ocean. I've always loved water. So that's never really bothered me. In fact, part of me is kind of like, feels like I would have worked with him more since I love the water so much. But it just didn't happen. He's just not one of those entities that I put into my regular rotation. In fact, most of the times I work with him is for a client, for a specific need, or if I'm just reworking through the Goetia for some reason, like these videos. Like anytime I do a video like this, I reach out to the spirit, sit down, talk with them, make sure I get in there what they want in there, make sure what I'm putting in there something they're cool with. I touch base with them. So I don't just go through my notes, get that stuff down and then do the video. I actually reach out and work with the entity before I publish the video, which was really great to see him again. Really a lot of fun. And in fact, during that conversation, I actually have been talking with him about the evocation course because I'm wanting to put all 72 spirits in the evocation course we're doing for the online school as well. So we also had to sit down in a chat about that. Um, and in fact, he asked me to come back and speak with him in the next week or so. So even after this video, I'm going to go say hi to him, see what's going on there, see what that's about. Who knows? Maybe I will be working with him long term in the future. I don't know. But I've always found him very pleasant in my taste. And when I say pleasant in my taste, what do I mean? Has any of you met that old sea captain, that old sailor who, maybe he runs a shrimp boat, a fishing boat or something, hangs out at the bar, um, and he's telling his crazy stories of the sea and the fishing and all that, or those kinds of old salts. He reminds me of that, very just pure, honest, and open, loving to share a story, loving to talk, loving to share information, loving that camaraderie, the companionship of sitting there and having a drink together. That's really how he comes off to me in a lot of ways. Though it is true he shows up as a sea monster more often than not. Rarely do I see the humanoid captain-y kind of composure. But at the same time, like I told you, he shows up at the giant whale Moby Dick persona to me. Oftentimes, that was usually him and I either sitting in the water, granted I'm basically looking at an eyeball here, or I'm on his back, or I'm on a rock while he comes up alongside, and we're looking out across the ocean into the night sky, the stars and the moon, having that conversation. I've always found it magical and enjoyable, truly, which is why it surprises me this isn't an entity I work more with. But there you go. That's my experiences. I would highly encourage you to reach out to Forneus and give him, talk to them, see what they're like, get to know them a bit. And if any of these things are something you need in your life, definitely ask his assistance. All right. And until next time, everyone, I am Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. I again apologize for the delay in the Goetia series. I'm going to try and get back on track to do those every couple to 3 weeks. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.